Hello, champions. Welcome to PHA class. Have you ever heard people say that sport is not meant for a particular gender or things like that? In today's lesson, I'll be teaching you gender participation in sport. And in this lesson, you will be learning the meaning of gender, the characteristics of male and female, especially at puberty, facts and fallacies in sports, reasons for low participation in sport by female, the values of female participation in sports, and some concepts. First of all, what is gender? Gender is simply a state of being a male or a female. And what are the characteristics that distinguish the male from the female, especially at puberty? At puberty, there tend to be growth spurts in both the male and the female. And in the male, there is increase in lean muscle mass. Also, there are changes in body composition in both the male and the female. For the male, there is increase in penile strength and first ejaculation. Also, there is pubic hair in both parts. A major change in the body of females that distinguish them from the males are breast development and increase in fat mass, especially around the thigh. Now, facts and fallacies about female participation in sports. What are the loosely held opinions about female participation in sports? Some believe that both male and female can be involved in sports. Others believe that it is the society, culture, and religion that places barrier in women's participation in sports. Female participation is sinful and degrading to some persons. Some believe that the natural beauty of women will be destroyed if they participate in sport. A woman's life, according to some, is confined to kitchen and designed for homekeeping and not sport. Women in sports are mistakenly believed not to be able to bear children. Now, what are the reasons why female participation in sports is low in general? Here are some reasons why female participation in sports is so low. Number one, parental influence. There is tendency for some parents to support the male child in sport than the female child. Religious influence. Religious influence also goes a long way to determine if females can participate in sport or not. Cultural influence. In general, people believe it is traditional and cultural for females to be involved in chores, other things, rather than sports. Peer group influence. The group that one belong. The opinion held by those influential peers also affects one's opinion. Misconception, generally a misunderstanding that females are not supposed to participate in sports, also influences. Lack of female coaches that could actually help the young ones become better in sports. The social and domestic role of women is another factor. There is a lot for them to do. Taking care of homes, bearing children, and the likes. What are the values of female participation in sport? Why should female participate in sport, and how does this benefit them? The first one is that it improves the biological function of the entire body system. Sports is particularly suitable for women. Exercises helps to improve the abdominal and spinal muscles, which are necessary during pregnancies. Sport women in general, they are believed to have a short labor period and quick and easy delivery. Also, after delivery, they have the strength and endurance to cope with domestic and social activities. There tends to be a social recognition of outstanding sport women. They tend to be popular and socially recognized. Also, one can get awards, gifts, and even a job from coaching sport. Finally, a career in coaching or sport administration could be pursued by female coaches. Some concepts that affect performance in sports. We're going to look at a few and we're going to consider the consequences they have in sport performance. Premarital sex, self-esteem in sports, assertiveness in sports, and communication in sports. First of all, premarital sex. This has to do with having intercourse with opposite sex before marriage. And what are the health consequences of premarital sex among adolescents on sport performance? One major problem facing adolescents is abstinence from sex when they are not married. And some of the issues they come across with include sexually transmitted diseases, unsafe abortion. All these have health risk on the female child in particular. Unwanted pregnancies, and the rest leads to emotional breakdown. And emotional breakdown is not good for sport performance in the girl child. Another one is the effect of vesical vaginal fistula. This affects the female girl child and leads to low performance in sports. Self-esteem in sport. What is self-esteem? When it comes to self-esteem, we mean the judgment or assessment an individual makes about him or herself. That it is the feeling or regard that we have for ourselves. And there are two types of self-esteem. There is high self-esteem and there is low self-esteem. What are the importance of a positive self-esteem, especially as it affects sports? In sports, now with self-esteem, one is able to build confidence in other people. One is able to engage in solving sport problems with ease. They set goals with other people and they are able to achieve it. They cultivate a positive relationship with sportsmen and women, and they also identify the values that are in line with positive sport practices. One is able to be him or herself and not other people. A positive self-esteem helps one to discover his or herself and the qualities that he possesses. Assertiveness in sports, another concept that is equally important. The term assertiveness means defining, emphasizing, and defending what one wants or believes in. Of course, without hurting other people's opinion. And finally, communication in sports. This is extremely essential. Communication in sports is important to get your team in line with what you intend. Finally, lovely students, all gender can participate in sports, and females in particular are strongly advised to participate. Thank you, lovely students, for viewing this lesson. Do have a wonderful day.